Cathy, this is Lunabird Book Club, and this is my March reading journal. So today is the 15th of March. We are halfway through the month, and this is the first clip I filmed this month. It's just been really busy. I'm filming this on a Saturday. It's already been a busy weekend. Ola was singing at a school choir event last night, which was really good fun. And then this morning we had a bunch of people around for breakfast, so I've been up early cleaning and doing stuff, but that was really good fun too. And filming this clip is probably the last useful thing I intend on doing today, and I want to spend the rest of today just crashing out, chilling, not moving around a lot. So let me tell you about my reading. So after February was a bit of a disastrous reading month. I decided to go easy on myself, and I started March by reading the Fables Encyclopedia, which is a character encyclopedia of all the characters that are in the Fable comic book series. I realised reading this that this was actually written and published before the series fully concluded, so there are some events that happen in Fables that are not mentioned in here, which is a bit unusual. So I read this in a couple of days. It was really good fun. I think I was definitely ready to read something a bit easygoing and a bit fun. And what I loved about this is that for each character in the Fables universe, one, that you got lots of nice pictures of them to remind you who they are, but for each character it shared with you a little bit about the original folklore or fable or myth legend that inspired the character, and then a little bit about how the character is portrayed in Fables. And that led me to finding out some things about this series that I had never considered before, some of which have already made it into our Fables review that came out a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I think this was a useful read. It is a treasure trove of knowledge about Fables, which is a series that I really love, that Rachel and I are working our way through and filming reviews of it, so that's been really fun, and this has been very handy to read, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lovely behind the scenes glimpse of this great epic story. And to go with that, once I'd finished the encyclopedia, I then read Fables Volume 8 Wolves, and then filmed a vlog about it with Rachel. I really enjoyed this one. This is a cracking Fables episode, volume. Some really good, happy things happen in it, which is quite rare for the Fables universe. There's a lot of tragedy in this series, but this one has some romantic love, wish fulfillment, and I really enjoyed reading that. And I'm looking forward to Rachel to crack on with the rest so I can read what's coming up next. So yeah, like I say, March has been really busy, so it was nice to start this month with some easier reading that I could get through quickly and kind of get my momentum back. So this got me off to a great start, but then, you won't believe it, it got even better. So my mum passed on to me a couple of books that she picked up from the charity shop and read and said, oh, I think you'd like these, so she just handed them on, and I read one of them, and that was The Whisper Man. Let me read you the back. When Tom and his son Jake moved to Featherbank, they're looking for a fresh start. But this sleepy village has a dark past. 15 years earlier, a serial killer haunted its streets. In the days before he struck, his young victims claimed to hear whispers in the night. Of course, an old crime need not trouble Tom and Jake until another boy goes missing. And then Jake says he hears a whispering at his window. Okay, so I've said on this vlog quite a number of times that I actually struggle reading books where children are in danger. They freak me out, and I don't like reading about it. I'm making an exception for this one because it was so well done. So even though there is a son in peril, this book was just incredible. I wanted to put my whole life on hold just to read one more chapter. It was creepy, sinister, but you know, the thing with like crime and horror books, like there are things set up that you think, oh, I'm only going to find the answer for that at the end of the book. And that's, you know, we know the format of these books. There were things in here that I thought, oh, well, I guess I'll only discover that at the end of the book. That then would happen in the next chapter. So this book was jam-packed full of plot, and the two kind of main characters that you read in their perspective were really compelling and people who you wanted to root for and you wanted to do well. I'd read that one again. Absolutely, I'd read this one again, which I think it says a lot for a mystery crime book. I could see myself returning to this when I wanted a little bit of like a creepy vibe book going on. Maybe another October read. Yeah, so this was absolutely excellent. The Whisper Man by Alex North. So then the day after I finished that book, Rachel and I went to the library and we played a game of library bingo and filmed a vlog about it, which came out on the 21st of March. And these are the books I got from the library. So I've been slowly kind of working my way through them. I read The Seasons, which is a collection of nature poetry compiled by BBC Radio 4. I have this idea in my head that I'm a person who enjoys poetry and is a deep thinker and enjoys being reflective. And I'm beginning to realise that that picture of myself isn't quite accurate. I want to enjoy poetry a lot more than I actually do enjoy poetry. And I've tried a few different like poetry books recently, like just dipping in and out, and I'm not having a good time with it. I find that the only way I really like manage to compute what poetry is trying to do or understand poems is to like slow down and read them aloud, and really I have to take my time with it, which doesn't always fit in with how I'm reading books. So I did read the whole thing, but I had to like slow down and read out a few of these out loud, and only a few of these would stand out to me as ones that I really, really enjoyed. And that's not me slating the poems in here. I think the poems in here probably all were of a very good calibre, but I don't actually enjoy poetry as much as I want to, which is a sad thing for me. I think for me to get along with a poem, I have to be able to understand it. Gosh, I'm not coming across very well here, am I? But you know, there's so many, like I'm quite widely read. I read a lot, I write a lot, I read classics, I read books from different times of history. I feel like I've got quite a good vocabulary, and yet a lot of these poems I get 2 or 3 lines in and there's 2 or 3 words that I just don't understand what they're saying. I don't know what those words mean, and I guess I could look them up one by one, but I don't, so that again is on me. But that is a big barrier to enjoying a poem, is if there's words in there that I just don't understand. I wonder if I picked a poem randomly, would it prove my point? Shall we see? Trees be company. Okay, I feel this isn't quite fair because this is one that's clearly meant to be written in a dialect. When summer's burnin' hets a shed upon the drooping grasses head, a drevin under sheedy leaves, the work folk in their snow white sleeves. We then midyearn to climb the height where thorns be white above the vern. So after that I've had a couple of false starts. I started Pine by Francine Toon, and this is a creepy mystery book set in Scotland, and I thought I was going to love it, but I read the first chapter and it just didn't click with me. I think after reading The Whisper Man, where I just knew from very early on I was into it, and likewise I just knew from early on this wasn't for me. There was just something about the portrayal of the characters, particularly a child character in the opening chapter, that just didn't ring true to me. So wanted to love it, but just didn't feel it. And then similarly with Mrs. P's book of secrets, I kind of read the first chapter again and just felt like it again just wasn't ringing true to me and didn't quite feel believable. It just wasn't hitting. And again, this might be a me problem, not the book, but I want books that I'm going to fall in love with, and I'm beginning to realise that most of the time I know early on if I'm going to love something or not. So I didn't fall in love with this. So I've got, and also it might be just what I'm in the mood for. So I've got 3 other books left for my library haul. I've got One Night Beneath the Lemon Trees, that's set in Cyprus and London and seems to be about the fallout of a love affair. I've got Square Haunting, 5 Women, Freedom and London Between the Wars. So this is a non-fiction book about a group of influential women who all happen to live around the same square in London and talking about their lives and history. So that could be interesting. Again, I just don't know if I'm feeling it though. I think I've got in a very flighty mood. And then the last one I've got is The French House, which I have a little bit of resentment for this book already because it made me lose the game of Library Bingo I was playing with Rachel, which again isn't really this book's fault, but this is set on Guernsey in 1940 and is kind of a story about the people there living during wartime. So I have these 3 from the library yet to read. I don't really feel a strong pull to read any of them. I don't feel like reading at all today, which is not like me. I don't really know what's going on in my head. Maybe what's going on in my head is that I read such a good book in The Whisper Man that my need to read feels quite fulfilled. And maybe I need to take a break and come back when I'm ready to read something new. That feels very unlike me. Normally I just go from one book to the next. I always have a book on the go, but I just don't feel like it at the moment. Which isn't great when I've got library books because like there's a deadline before I have to return them. So maybe when I check in with you, I'll be able to tell you if this feeling has passed or whether one of these 3 gets me out of it or whether I go and just like maybe reread an old favourite. I don't know. I don't feel bad about it. I had a really good time reading The Whisper Man. I've enjoyed my fables, but I just don't feel like reading at the moment. Again, it might be that I've just been really, really busy and my head's just mashed and full of things. I don't know, but I'm okay and I hope you're okay too, and I guess you'll see in the next clip what happens. Hello, jumping on the vlog very quickly to film this because I'm going to be late to work, but I want to film this now because I need to return my library books. It is the 27th of March and I think after my last clip I was saying I wasn't sure which of my remaining library books I wanted to read. Well, since then I have read One Night Beneath the Lemon Trees. And I'll tell you that this book is why we play Library Bingo. Because if I was browsing normally for a book to read, I would never have picked up this book. I think this just screams to me like it's a holiday romance book. Like One Night Beneath the Lemon Trees. I don't particularly like the colour. It's, you know, it's just saying like holiday romance. And that's not often a genre I am interested in reading. But this book, it's quite hard to define actually. It's not a holiday romance. I would say this is actually more literary fiction, although you wouldn't really be able to tell from, like I say, the cover. It's about 5 people who are connected by a family secret, and some of them know what the secret is. Well, actually only one, and only one of those 5 people know fully what that secret is, and the other 4 know something in part or know nothing. And it's very beautifully told. The 5 perspectives that you read from paint a really intimate picture of these characters who feel very real, and not all of them are particularly likeable. So it made a really interesting story. It wasn't one I could race through, but I really enjoyed reading it and it gave me a lot to think about. And I'm deliberately not saying too much because it was discovering the story that made this so intriguing. And the other interesting thing about this is that the family involved, the main family involved, the main people involved are either immigrants from Cyprus to London or the descendants. So there's an interesting tale in here of how of London and immigration and what culture do you hold on to and what culture changes, especially as the next generation grows up and aren't as connected perhaps to the culture of their parents. So it was a really, really interesting, thought-provoking story, and I'm really glad I read it, and I would have never ever picked it up if we hadn't played Library Bingo. So I'm really, really pleased to have discovered this one. It was really, really good. And then with the rest of my library books, I've not really had any more success. I started reading Square Haunting, and I started reading it, and to be honest, it is probably good, but I just feel like I'm not in the mood for it. So maybe I'll rediscover this at another time, but for now I just didn't fancy it. And then The French House, which is a book that foiled me from winning the Library Bingo game Rich and I played. Again, I'm just not in the mood, so I've not even really attempted to read that. So I'm going to return my library books today, and then I guess I'm going to turn my reading to something on my own shelves. I haven't decided what yet. My memory card died, which was very rude. So here I am on the 1st of April.
Happy April Fool's
Happy April Fool's Day! To say that over the weekend I did read The Stallions of Woodstock. And I love this series so much. In this one, it begins with a horse race. People are waiting for the horses and the riders to emerge from behind some trees. But then one of the horses arrives without a rider on, and the rider is stuck in the woods with a knife in his back, dead. And the mystery is, who killed him? Why did they kill him? How was it all carried out? And our group of hero detectives have to solve the crime, and it's really, really good. And this has finished off my March very nicely, and I really enjoyed reading it over the weekend. And that is it for my March reading diary. I hope you've had a great reading month. Rachel's reading wrap-up should come out on Friday, so keep an eye out for that. And bye! See you later!